What's up, everybody? We're back for the newest episode of Queen City Reds. Just me, Greg, today. Greg going solo. Happy to be here. Happy you're here. I never do this at the beginning of the video, but if you're here, please subscribe, drop a like, throw some comments. It really helps us out a lot. I think we're close to 500 followers. I know it's lame saying that, but appreciate all the support. So if you're here and you like the content, subscribe, like, do all the fun things. But a little bit new of a format this week. I guess not new format, but instead of just going game by game of what the Reds did last week, we're going to dive in to just overall. They had a 5-3 week. We're going to dive into how well the Reds pitching staff has done lately, which is pretty cool to see considering all the guys that are up on the roster right now. You have all those guys hurt. And then we're just going to dive into the Reds' offensive struggles a little bit, and that'll be it for this week. But just to start off, the Reds are 5-3 in their last 8 games. They played pretty well. They won last Sunday against the Mets to avoid being swept. They did lose a series against the Cardinals, and they almost swept the who did they just almost sweep yesterday? They lost on Sunday to not sweep them, and now I'm drawing a blank. The Twins, of course, the Twins. They almost swept the Twins, but lost 9-2 yesterday. Did beat the Braves also on Monday, which was technically a sweep. It was a makeup game from previously. But before we get into the pitching, let's just talk about, or to transition to the pitching, let's talk about how good the Reds pitching has been. Now, you got to remember, we have Hunter Green on the IL, Andrew Abbott on the IL, Nick Lodolo on the IL. Graham Ashcraft, who was I know people are going to say, why are you bringing Graham Ashcraft? He was a big part of the rotation to start the year. He's on the IL. That's 4 starters on the injured list. And the Reds have been calling up guys. They've been pitching a million bullpen games. And the Reds pitching has just been really good lately. The hitting has been bad, but the Reds pitching has been good. Since last Sunday, here are the number of runs they've given up in each game. Sunday, win 3-1 against the Mets. Monday, win 1-0 against the Braves. Tuesday, win 3-0 against the Cardinals. Wednesday, lose 2-1 against the Cardinals. Thursday, lose 6-1 against the Cardinals. Friday, win 8-4 against the Twins. Saturday, win 11-1 against the Twins. Sunday, lose 9-2 against the Twins. So they had 2 games in there where they've given up more than 4 runs. The rest, all below 4 runs or less. The pitching staff has been remarkable. So let's dive in a little bit about what's going on with the pitching staff. Just some key stats. I posted an article on Cincinnati Reds Talk earlier today, so feel free to go over that and read that article. The Reds starters are 8th best in Major League Baseball in September with a 3.74 ERA. They're 7th best in FIP. If you don't know what FIP is, it's fielding independent pitching. It basically suggests that it's sustainable and it doesn't have much to do with luck. The Reds rotation has accumulated 1.7 wins above replacement in September. That ranks 3rd in Major League Baseball. Strikeout percentage 27.2. That's 5th in Major League Baseball. WHIP, which is walks plus hits per innings. How many base runners are you giving up per inning? The Reds starters rank 3rd in Major League Baseball. The batting average against, again, how are guys hitting against the current Reds starters? 5th in Major League Baseball, which it's incredible when you think about who has been starting for the Reds. It's been Julian Aguiar. It's been Brandon Williamson. It's been Nick Martinez. It's been Jakob Junis. Feels like we've run out of bullpen game every 5th day. It's really incredible what this bullpen has done for the Reds, and we're going to dive into a couple of them here and just go into some game logs and just talk about how good the pitching staff has really been. And in a year where the Reds have been out of the playoffs now for a while, you're kind of like, what am I going to watch the rest of the year? And it's been cool to see some of these guys pitch really well. So let's start with Julian Aguiar. Aguiar is Reds. I believe he's the 12th ranked prospect. Started the year in Double-A, got called up to Triple-A, and then let's face it, he was forced to come up to the majors because of all the injuries. You weren't sure how he would look, and he's been pretty good. He's given up more than 2 runs only twice since he's been called up. We'll run through some of these game logs. The one was on Friday where he pitched 6 1/3 and gave up 3 runs. So he's been solid. He doesn't have the nastiest stuff, but he's a guy that throws strikes. He attacks hitters, doesn't walk a bunch of guys. He hasn't walked more than 2 batters in a start yet. So let's just run down some of his starts. He got called up in his major league debut. I think if you remember, he gave up a bomb to Vlad Guerrero Jr. in the first inning of his first start. Welcome to the big leagues, kid. 4 innings, 2 runs, 4 hits, 2 strikeouts. Solid, nothing great, nothing terrible, but pretty solid for a guy that got called upon just because you need health. Pirates, 6 innings, 2 runs, 3 hits, 4 strikeouts. Really good start. Reds got the win. And before I get into this, the Reds have won all 6 games that Aguiar has pitched in. All 6, 6-0. Oakland Athletics, they even won this game. This was the one start where he really struggled. 4 innings, 10 hits, 6 earned, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. He gave up 3 home runs in that game. The Reds still won 10-9. Pretty incredible. But that's the one game that really got away from Aguiar. He pitched on short rest against the Astros, 2 2/3, 2 runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Not great again, but again, he's pitching on short rest, a guy that you probably didn't even expect to be pitching in the majors right now. So I'll take 2 2/3 and 2 runs. Again, the Reds won 5-3. The Mets, he pitched in relief, 4 2/3, didn't give up a run, 2 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, one of his better performances of the year. And then Friday against the Twins in an 8-4 win, 6 1/3 innings, 3 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Again, you really can't ask for more than that than what Julian Aguiar has given this Reds team. I think if you just look at his ERA and say it's 4.88, I think he's pitched better than that. Again, he gave up 6 runs in 4 innings against Oakland. Other than that, he's been fantastic. And he, I think, has a chance to be a part of this Reds team. I'm not sure he's going to be a starter going into next year, but I think he can be someone that gives you length out of the bullpen. He can be a guy that can make spot starts when you need him. And it's been really cool to see Julian Aguiar have success with the big league club. All right, let's move on to Brandon Williamson. Brandon Williamson has been hurt all season long. He's been rehabbing a couple times, and then he got called back from his rehab due to aggravating the injury. This last time around, he went down and made 1 rehab start. I was actually going to the game, and the next day they say, hey, Brandon Williamson's making a start on Sunday. I said, Brandon Williamson, he's made 1 start in the minors. And sure enough, they started him. He pitched 3 1/3, gave up 1 earned run, struck out 5 in a 4-3 win against the Brewers. Next time out, 4 2/3 against the Mets, 1 run, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. And last Wednesday, he went 5 innings, 1 run, 3 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Brandon Williamson is he's pitched 13 innings, has a 2.08 ERA, a .77 WHIP. Again, Brandon Williamson was a guy that we weren't even sure we were going to see this year. He kept having nagging injuries. They talked about surgery at one point. He has been fantastic. I think one thing that I love about watching Brandon Williamson pitch is he looks like he does it with not a lot of effort. He just looks calm, relaxed. It's been really reassuring to see what Brandon Williamson's done this year, and I think it gives us hope going into next season. I think Brandon Williamson's one of the most underappreciated pitchers on the staff, and I think he has a real shot to make the rotation going into next year. Again, just another, you can't say enough good things about Brandon Williamson. It's been awesome to see what he's done since he's come back. All right, moving on to everybody's favorite. We're going to Rhett Lowder. Again, if you would have said Rhett Lowder was up making starts back on the Major League team, probably back in June, July, when he was struggling and couldn't get anybody out at Double-A Chattanooga, I mean, I would have been surprised. I said when he was struggling like that, I was like, it's probably not realistic to see Lowder. And then he's just been on an absolute tear. His last 4 or 5 starts in Double-A, he just has been pitching his mind off. Made 1 start in Triple-A, was fantastic there. And then again, due to the injuries, the Reds said, all right, let's go, kid. It's your time. Let's run through Lowder's game log. He's been fantastic. He's just fantastic to watch pitch. I know some comparisons. People have said Mike Leake with better stuff. But, man, he's just a pitcher. He throws a lot of different pitches. He commands the ball well. He's walked a little bit more. He walked more guys in the majors than he has in the minors, but I think a lot of that was the first couple starts and just nerves. But man, he's been fun to watch. He's fun to watch pitch, and he's been fantastic. First game, Major League debut, the Reds lost 14-0 in that game, but Lowder did not give up a lot of those runs. 4 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts. Again, walks there, I think nerves got to him in the first inning. Making your big league debut, that's normal. But again, he was fantastic in his first start. The Reds are going to limit his pitch count, innings count, probably going forward. He's usually only throwing around the 80 pitch mark in most of these starts. Next time out against the Astros in just his second start in his major league career, 6 1/3 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts. 6 1/3 scoreless in your second major league start. Rhett Lowder, he's awesome to watch, man. He just really is. Then, next time out against the Cardinals, 5 innings, 5 hits, no runs, 3 strikeouts, no walks. So you're talking about his second and third major league starts, 11 1/3 scoreless innings. I mean, you literally cannot ask for more than what Lowder has given you. And then Sunday, yesterday against the Twins, 5 1/3, 6 hits, 3 runs, 1 walk, 5 Ks. He did give up 3 runs, but 2 of those were after he left. Santillan gave up both allowed both inherited runners to score. Lowder, over 20 2/3 innings pitched, has a 1.74 ERA, 17 strikeouts, and has allowed just 17 hits. Again, you just can't ask for more than what Rhett Lowder's given you. I would have told you you're crazy if you said this is what he's doing at the end of the year. But man, it's been exciting, and if he keeps pitching like this, I don't know how he doesn't make the rotation to start the year next year. There's a serious opportunity there, which is exciting to see. And then, we're talking about all these young guys, right? We're talking about all the young guys, but you can't forget about the 2 veterans that have been pitching their butts off for the Reds. One of that is, I think he's quickly turned into a fan favorite for Reds fans. Nick Martinez. It's funny, you look back at the beginning of the year, and I was one of the guys that said every time he starts, he gets kind of hit a lot and hit hard, third time through the lineup, that type of thing. But he was fantastic out of the bullpen, so I didn't understand why they kept starting him. Well, the Reds had to start starting him again, just like we said, health issues. They had to start having him start again, and man, he's been fantastic lately. Let's go. We'll go through his last 4 starts. He's just been. You can't ask for more than what he's done for the Reds. He's quickly turned into a fan favorite. Like I said, when guys make plays for him defensively, he's celebrating, having fun. He's pacing the dugout. All right, Friday, August 30th, he faced the Brewers. The Reds lost 5-4 in 10 innings. He went 5 1/3, 7 innings, 4 runs. Again, that was one of his games. He didn't have his best stuff, but still gives you 5 1/3, 4 runs. Not great, but not terrible. Fine start. Then against the Astros, 5 2/3, just gives up 1 earned run, struck out 7. Against the Braves, gives 7 innings of 2-hit, no-run baseball, walked 1 batter, 5 strikeouts. The Reds won that game 1-0. Then Saturday against the Twins, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 6 strikeouts, did not walk a batter. Again, Nick Martinez has a 3.37 ERA on the season, over 128 innings pitched. Martinez has been a great signing for the Reds. He has a player option, I believe, is what it is. I feel like it's unlikely that he's going to pick that up, and they'll probably want to either renegotiate or he's going to be a free agent. I hope there's a way the Reds can get him back. He's been fantastic for the Reds this season, and I think he's a good clubhouse guy. He can give you versatility to start. He can be good out of the bullpen, and I just really like what Nick Martinez has done for the Reds this year. And then the last starter we're going to talk about is Jakob Junis. Jakob Junis was acquired in the Frankie Montas trade along with Joey Wiemer. He was kind of the, you get a prospect like Wiemer, you're excited. Jakob Junis, you're kind of like, all right, he'll eat some innings, whatever it may be. But Junis has been, again, fantastic for the Reds. He had a couple rough starts, or a couple of rough appearances to start out his season with the Reds in late July. I think he gave up 3 runs and 3 runs both time in his first 2 appearances. But since August 7th, he's given up just 4 runs since August 7th. And lately he's been starting for the Reds, which is even better. So we'll run through his last 4 starts because they were all starts. And the Reds have asked him to do more than what he's been doing. He hasn't been a starter most of the year. He's been coming out of the bullpen, so they've built him up a little bit. Against the Athletics in a 5-4 loss, he went 4 innings, did not allow a hit, did not allow a run, did not walk anybody, and struck out 3. Did not allow a base runner in 4 innings pitched. Again, pretty awesome for your first start. Actually, he might have started the game before that against the Pirates as well, but regardless, great appearance for Junis. Against the Brewers in a 4-3 Reds win, he gave up just 1 run in 3 2/3 and only gave up 2 hits. Against the Mets in a 5-4 loss, he went 5 innings, gave up just 1 hit, did not give up a run, walked the batter, and struck out 5. And then again against the Cardinals in a 6-1 loss, 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 3 strikeouts. So in his last 4 appearances, you got 17 2/3 innings, just 2 runs in his last 4 appearances. His ERA is down to 2.73 on the season. You just really can't ask for more than Jakob Junis has given you. I mean, it's really incredible what these Reds starting pitchers have done. They've kept him in the game. If this offense could do anything, it would be miraculous, and I think the Reds could actually be having a good second half, but they haven't been, and yeah, that's it. That's the reason why the offense has struggled. So, but the pitching staff, just as a whole, I think you have to be happy with how Williamson, Lowder, Aguiar, Martinez, and Junis have pitched, and I think all those guys have chances to be on the team next year. So we'll see, but it's been an exciting kind of end of the season when they don't really have anything to play for. At least, there's some bright spots to look at on the pitching staff. Not so bright spots to look at. We're going to the offense. This is just on the season. We're just going to run down some OPSs because it really is alarming on how many guys have kind of struggled throughout the season for this Reds team. You have Elly De La Cruz with an 811 OPS. Been the Red best offensive player all season at age 22, which is crazy. He's got 62 extra base hits, 64 stolen bases, which leads Major League Baseball. Elly De La Cruz has been everything you could have hoped for as a 22-year-old. He's only going to continue to get better. Jeimer Candelario has been out forever now, it seems like, with the broken toe. Candelario had been really streaky. He had a 708 OPS on the season, did hit 20 home runs, but again, he was very streaky, and probably you are hoping a little bit more than what he gave you for the season. Spencer Steer with a 740 OPS had a pretty good first half. He has driven in 89 runs. He's really struggled over the second half of the season. Steer is one of those guys that I think with all the Reds' injuries, he's being forced to hit higher up in the lineup. In a fully healthy offensive lineup, Steer's probably hitting 6th or 7th in the order. And he's just had to move up, along with Tyler Stevenson. Tyler Stevenson, 785 OPS, 18 home runs. This has been an incredible season for Tyler Stevenson. I think everybody would pretty much take the numbers he currently has on this Reds team. He's been fantastic for the Reds. I think he's one of the lone bright spots offensively. Will Benson, 670 OPS, 192 average. He struck out 148 times in just 122 games. Just a disappointing season for Will Benson. I don't know what else to say. Besides that, I'm not really sure what happened between that last year and this year, but he's really struggling, and it's been hard to watch. Jonathan India, 744 OPS. He had that crazy hot streak from May to mid-June. Other than that, he's been kind of average or below average probably. The crazy hot streak he had was fun to watch. But Jonathan India, I think that it is what he is at this point. I'd say he's an average baseball player. Again, he's probably one of those guys, if he's hitting 7th, 8th in your lineup, you're probably pretty happy with it. If he's being asked to hit early on in the lineup, it's probably a below average lineup, which is what the Reds are so far this year. TJ Friedl, 715 OPS. It's wild the season he's having. He's dealt with a ton of injuries, but he has 13 home runs and 53 RBIs in just 75 games. If he could get that average up a bit and walk a bit more, it'd look even better. Again, Friedl, we just need to be able to keep him healthy. you worry about that. It seems like he's always hurt at some point in his career. We'll see what happens going into 2025. Santiago Espinal, 684 OPS, which is pretty incredible considering how bad he started out the season. He's hitting like over 400, I think, since the All-Star break. Santiago Espinal is one of those guys that the Reds didn't sign to be the everyday player, but he's done a phenomenal job. I know 684 OPS isn't anything to write home about, but for what he's done in the second half and what he's provided defensively, Espinal has been a solid player for the Reds, and I think he has a decent chance to make the team next year. Jake Furley, 721 OPS. He's been playing much better since the injury. He showed some pop. Is up to, I think, 5 home runs on the season. Has hit some more extra base hits lately. Early in the season, he was really struggling with power. Let's see, Ty France, 753 OPS. Ty France, I haven't looked recently, but I know last week I was looking and he was hitting over 300 with the Reds. I think that's another guy the Reds could look to sign next year and have, if CES comes out and has a bad spring training and he's not ready, I think France could be the guy until CES proves he's ready. France has been pretty solid for the Reds since he's gotten brought over, and it's been fun to watch and him kind of not change his career, but kind of bring back his career a little bit. Noelvi Marte has been one of the more disappointing guys on the team. 546 OPS. He's just struggled. He's really struggled. 4 home runs. He barely walks. He has looked better as of late. I think Marte, again, he's just a young kid. He'll get better. You want to think. So we'll see. I think I still am huge on Noelvi Marte. We've talked about him a ton on here. I think Marte is still going to be a solid player. I think he just needs at bats. He's probably came back from the suspension thinking he had the world on his shoulders. He had to do a ton of things. I think Marte is going to be fine. But with that being said, I'm not sure you go into the season and say Marte's for sure our starting third baseman. I think he's going to have a big spring training, and he's going to have to earn the spot. So we'll see what happens with Marte. He struggled this year, and just another guy that's kind of underperformed of what the expectations were. The other guy the Reds signed, Ahmad Rosario, he's been pretty bad for the Reds. I know some people like him because he makes contact. 180, 212, 240 slash line, OPS of 452 since he's been over with the Reds. Not very good. I want to think he would be back this year, but just where I'm going with this is a lot of guys who are struggling and a lot of guys who the OPS is lower than you would expect at the beginning of the year. And that is the story of this Reds offense. I mean, I know we were talking about how many runs the Reds gave up and how well the pitching staff's been doing. Well, let's talk about how many runs the Reds have scored in the last 9 games or so. 0, 3, 1, 3, 1, 1, and then the Twins, they scored 8, 11, and 2. But here all those 1s and 1s and 3s and 0s and 3s and 1s and 0s, it's happened so often this year that it's a frustrating offense to watch, and the Reds they have a lot of injuries, they have a lot of guys underperforming. They've been really bad with runners in scoring position lately, and it's just been a struggle. So the Reds are going to have to make some moves and get better offensively in the offseason. I don't think they can stay pat. I don't think that's a winning strategy. I don't think you can just trust all these guys are going to get better or play way above than what they're capable of. I think they're going to have to bring in some bats, and it'll be interesting to see what they do. But all right, last topic here. What I want to talk about is David Bell. The Reds, Nick Krall made some comments about David Bell. Let me read the comments for you, and then we'll get into should the Reds keep David Bell, should the Reds get rid of David Bell. Here's a couple of quotes. Nick Krall told MLB.com's Mark Sheldon he's got a contract for next year. As of right now, we're going to evaluate everything at the end of the year and see what we have to do to move forward. He went on to say we've had some guys that have taken some steps forward, and we've had some guys that have taken some steps backwards. Part of it's youth. Part of it is we have to figure out how to get better. It's on all of us. Obviously, I'm not happy where we are record-wise. It's something that we have to do to continue the grind and keep moving forward. Now listen, I think whenever somebody asks Nick Krall, hey, what are your thoughts on David Bell? He cannot just come out and say David Bell has done a tremendous job. David Bell's been awesome. Reds fans had big expectations for this season. David Bell and the Reds are 73 and 78 currently at the moment. Yeah, you can point to injuries, but you just Reds fans are tired of excuses, and I think if Krall comes out and says David Bell's done a great job this year, he's just going to get lit up and people are going to be mad. So I think part of it is just you say what to the media, to what I think, hey, we're going to evaluate everything. We're not happy with how the years went. Everything's on the table. I think part of that is just speak. Part of that's just stuff you say. Do I think the Reds are seriously considering firing David Bell? I would probably guess not. I'd probably be more surprised if they did make a move. I don't think it's fully off the table. I will say that. I don't think it's fully off the table, but I would just be surprised to make a move. And I want to end this with kind of my stance on everything regarding David Bell. The Reds are 406 and 453 with David Bell as a manager. That's 473 winning percentage. But I want to preface it with this. There's been surely times where the Reds have been disappointing under David Bell. I'm a person probably where I don't think the manager deserves all the blame. I don't think they deserve all the credit. So here's an example. So the Reds have underperformed this year, and everyone wants to blame David Bell. Do you give David Bell the credit for the Reds overperforming last season? That's where some of it is just players play well, players don't play well, players get in slumps, players get hurt. So that's where it gets tricky. If David Bell was the reason for the success last year and why guys overachieved, is he the reason they underachieved this year? That doesn't make much sense. But I get it. People want a new voice. I could see where he's been there for, I don't know, what has it been, 6 years or so now, where you could make the argument the Reds need a new voice in the clubhouse. But at the same time, the Reds players really seem to like playing for him. Everyone talks about how good the clubhouse is. I know that gets annoying when you're in a losing clubhouse to hear, oh, this is the best clubhouse I've ever been a part of when the team is losing. But it's not, I don't think it's as easy enough to just blame it all on David Bell. The Reds have had a ton of injuries. Again, we just mentioned the pitching staff they're currently pitching with. They've had Jeimer Candelario hurt and underperform. CES has been hurt basically all season. Matt McLean, who was arguably their best player last year, hasn't played one inning. So it's tough. It really is tough. I don't think it's as easy as some of the fans want to make it out to be and just blame it all on that guy. Now, if the Reds make a move, would I be up in arms? Probably not. But I don't know who you go get that automatically you're going to go be great. I think the Cubs are a perfect example. Craig Counsell was looked at as this amazing manager. The Cubs went and got Craig Counsell, and the Cubs are right down where the Reds are this year. So I don't think the manager really matters as much as people want to blame the manager for. And I think sometimes the manager can be the scapegoat and you just need something to blame and someone to blame. And I think some of that goes to David Bell. But I get it. That's sports. That's the job that managers sign up for. It'll be interesting to see what happens with David Bell. He's under contract. So again, I don't see the Reds letting him go. But we'll see. But anyway, that's it for today's episode. Like I said before, if you've made it this far, like, subscribe, comment, do all of that. It really helps us out. We'll see you next week. Go Reds.